Hey everyone, Matt here on another edition of Ask Ron. Ron, how's your day going so far?
So far, so good.
Right, that's what I like to hear. All right, we have a few questions today, and we'll start off with Michael from Florida.
Hey, Michael.
Michael says, how do you speak to sellers? How do you approach them with the big three questions without being too aggressive and putting the seller on the defensive and saying no to terms?
I'm guessing the answer would be practice. I'm not sure how you feel that you're being aggressive by asking those three simple questions. What's the least you could take for the house? We agree on the terms. We usually buy with nothing down. Okay. What's the least you could take per month? I'm not sure what's aggressive about that. I think that's more of an attitude on your part than anything else. You need to practice it. I always assign my boot camp graduates the job of going home and practicing on 25 calls before they talk to a live seller, recording them and playing them back and writing down their own mistakes, which are all right there in my book. They're also in my terms course as well. And I think they're on the Boat Club site too, if I'm not mistaken, Matt. So that's the only way you're going to get over that. And you're being aggressive only in your own head. There's nothing aggressive about that.
Nice, yeah, practice makes perfect.
I think it more comes down to you're afraid to ask the questions, Mike. It hasn't got anything to do with aggressiveness. I don't know why. Remember, this seller advertised their house for sale, or we wouldn't even be calling. This seller needs you 10 times more than you need them. You're only responding to their request to buy their house. Nobody's going to buy their house without asking questions.
That's right. All right. Next question we have is from Corine in California. Corine says, is the lease agreement with option to purchase real estate the first form we use with sellers?
Well, Corine, that depends on whether you're buying the house or whether you're leasing with an option to buy. I don't lease options. Very rarely I lease options, but if you're going to lease option, then obviously that is the form you use. You need to have the check for comply with the California rules out there. You're in another country out there in California, and you still got your old president. So after the election the other day, so again, California has got some fairly decent closing costs. Some states are a lot higher than California closing costs, but sometimes the closing costs alone will determine whether one wants to buy or lease purchase. And I'm always going to try to buy, but let's say I've been in a state like Maryland where transfer tax alone is 3%. Now, in case where I have what I could buy the house, but I don't have a lot of equity in, I might choose to lease option just to avoid that 3% transfer tax. That's a decision you have to make. There's a lot of equity in it. I'm just going to go ahead and pay the 3% and get that equity and own the house, because I always want to own the house. But as starting out, I can understand where leasing it is more favorable because it requires really no money out of your pocket at all and no closing costs except none really.
Nice. All right. Next question we have is from Maxwell, who's also in California. Maxwell says, do you have any recommendations for a deal-making real estate attorney in Los Angeles?
No, I don't. But the best thing for you to do is ask some Los Angeles investors, and they will lead you to them. But it's not that hard to find real estate attorneys, for crying out loud. They breed like cockroaches. They're all over the place. Go on Google, plug in real estate attorney in LA. By the way, it don't have to be in LA. It can be anywhere in California, as long as they're licensed in California, because everything is done virtually anywhere. Anyway, you're not going to go into any attorney's office today and sit down and do a closing. That's just not the way it's done. Buyer doesn't go in, seller doesn't go in. It's all done electronically. So any California attorney will do your closings for you. And they're not very hard to find. Just make sure they specialize in real estate closings. That's all. Now in California, you have escrow companies. Of course, escrow companies do closings for you as well. And I'm okay if you use an escrow company, which of course are all over, but I would prefer you go and, because all of them have an attorney or two that work for them. See if it's possible those attorneys could represent you and in a closing. And if not, they can certainly refer you to one that can.
Nice. All right. The last two questions we have are from Sharon in Washington. With me as a buyer, what are your best text messages to send to sellers on Zillow to achieve terms?
I'm interested in buying your house. Please contact me. Make sure you put the words, I'm interested in buying your house, not interested in your house. Because you might look like a realtor trying to list it instead of someone trying to buy it. That's all you need. You put your name in there. My name is John Brown. I'm interested in buying your house. Please contact me. Now, this kind of depends on whether Zillow was already putting contact information in your ad, which they must, or they wouldn't be running an ad. You should contact them first, which I guess is what you're doing with the text message, but you don't necessarily get their phone number, their text number in the ad. So if you don't, you're gonna have to email them and ask them to contact you to get some information on the house. If they put their phone number in there, just go ahead and text them.
All right. Short and sweet. And the next one we have from Sharon, she says, I have a mobile home and a mobile home park with a mortgage. How may I get it out of my name and become an unidentifiable owner to unwanted interested parties?
Okay, I'm assuming that the loan is in your name, Sharon. If that's the case, you're not going to get it out of your name until you pay it off. If the loan is not in your name, but the title to the mobile home is in your name, you can transfer that into a trust, a personal property trust, if you wish. But you better check with your DMV or whoever, what department covers sales tax, because they might want to charge you sales tax to do that. But if they say they do, you need to make the case that I'm putting it in there for family purposes. I'm doing some estate planning. And I own the trust that this trailer is going into, and see what they say. But you can own it in a personal property trust, or you can own it in the LLC if you want, either way. But if you're trying to get a loan out of your name, there's no way you can do that till you pay it off.
Got it. All right. Ron, that was all the questions we had for today.
All right. Well, that was easy. Okay. All right. Well, guys, I hope you're out there becoming active right now. You only got so many bites of the apple. You better get going. We don't know what the future is going to bring. And boy, time goes by in a hurry. I tell you what, the older I get, the faster it goes by. Boom, it's like that. So I have to make something happen. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel. Thank you, Matt.